Hi, and welcome to Rudy's Movie Review, San Antonio's official movie critic. Today I'm going to have fun with everybody because today I'm going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite classic horror movies. It's the Halloween season, right? So I'm going to start talking about some scary movies that I love. And what better way to kick it off with than John Carpenter's one and only classic, Halloween.
When you go down the stairs and out the front door, and I want you to go down the street to the Mackenzie's house. I want you to tell them to call the police and tell them to send them over here.
Oh,
Now, do you understand me?
Yes.
Go do as I say.
Now, the clip I just showed you, believe it or not, is my very first memory of any horror movie. I was young, my parents were watching the movie, believe it or not, at the house, I think on HBO. They told me to go in the other room because they were watching a scary movie, but I peeked in anyway, and Michael sitting upright in the background with Jamie Lee Curtis right there in the foreground is my very first memory of any horror movie. And by the way, looking at that scene now, that's a hard sit-up. If you've ever tried to not pick up your legs, if I'm Michael Myers, I'm like, and then I'd look because it wouldn't be too frightening, but you know, that there's a crewman holding his legs down or something. Anyway, but why is Halloween so great, you ask? Well, thank you for asking, I appreciate it. It does a lot of things right, and I'm always a firm believer of keeping it simple. Simplicity is king. And John Carpenter, because of budget constraints, he did things simple, but it was effective, and that's what makes this movie so awesome and badass. So I'm gonna cover 4 things today that I believe make it classic. So the first is going to be, of course, the score. You know the word, sing along with me, right? Dun, 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 dun. You know how it goes. The score is amazing. It's effective, and automatically as an audience goer, you're sitting in the theater or at home, the music starts, you're automatically put into an uncomfortable place. It's insane. For example, this is how effective the music is. I am going to play a scene. This is Lori and her friends going home from school, okay? This is it without the music, so roll the clip.
Eggs and soaping windows. His parents grounded him. He can't come over tonight.
I thought you were babysitting tonight.
The only reason she babysits is to have a place to.
Shit.
Okay, nothing too memorable, right? It's just 3 girls walking down the street. Now let's throw the score in there and see what happens. Clip.
Eggs and soaping windows. His parents grounded him. He can't come over tonight.
I thought you were babysitting tonight.
The only reason she babysits is to have a place to.
Shit.
And you see, that's what makes the music so freaking awesome. It automatically puts the audience unease. We're nervous. Danger is lurking somewhere. We don't know where it's at, but we know there's something that's going to happen. There's something hunting them. There's an uneasy feeling, and I love it to death. That's what makes it brilliant. It's simple, and it's timeless. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have the soundtrack on my phone. It's one of my ringers around this time of year. It's classic. It's eerie. And I love it. And the second thing I'd like to talk about is how John Carpenter uses the point of view. We all know about the opening sequence. I'm not going to touch on that. I want to touch on how we are looking through the eyes of a killer. We are looking at the eyes of a killer doing some harm. And if you think about it that way, it unsettles you. It's like, oof, ugh, I don't want to be there. But the director put us in that position. It made us uncomfortable. And that's the brilliance of John Carpenter. And I love throughout the film how, as an audience viewer, you see the protagonist. We know Michael's right outside and they don't know that. That is especially creepy, and I love that. You know they're in danger, but we can't tell them anything, but Michael is right there, one step away, looking through the window, and it's terrifying as an audience viewer. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is how Michael is really hiding in plain sight. That is very creepy. Now, let's talk about that. For really about the first half of the film, we don't really get a good glimpse of him. He's always in the background. He's away. We caught a quick glimpse of him when that child ran into him in the school, and the kid looks up and he freaks out and runs the other way. We know he's lurking. He's following Jamie and her friends when they're walking home from school. We know he drives by Dr. Loomis. Every danger is around, and he's in the movie without being in the movie. And as an audience goer, you want to see the monster. You want to see the bad guy, but they don't show you the bad guy. You get a glimpse of him, and then the director takes him away. And that's brilliant, and that's what I love about John Carpenter, is because we don't want to see him entirely. For me, my imagination went crazy not getting a good look at him. We see him in the background, we see him walk away, we catch a glimpse of him, and that alone is for my mind to drive me insane. And that's important with horror movies nowadays. And that's one thing directors really need to ease back on, is that we don't need to see everything. Let our minds do the rest. Imagination is key with horror. Remember that. I mean, as long as you give us a hint, a glimpse, an outline of something without giving us the full apparition or whatever is there bothering our protagonist and their family, that's what we want. That's what we need. Let our minds and our imaginations do the rest, and we'll create the worst thing you can ever think of, and it'll drive us insane. At least for me anyway. That's the way my imagination works, but that's why I love horror. I do. Now, I mentioned jump scares. There are a couple in the movie, but I kind of want to throw something at you that's a little bit different, okay? Here's a scene with Laurie walking home, and she bumps into the sheriff. Now, for this first jump scare, I'm going to put a little of the modern flair that directors are doing nowadays. And I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So roll the clip.
Excuse me, Laurie.
Oh, Mr. Brackett, I'm sorry, Mr. Brackett.
Well, yeah, pretty much what you see in horror movies all the time nowadays. Personally, I'm sick of it, and I hope they stop. But let me play the original clip and tell me what you think.
Excuse me,
Oh,
Laurie.
Mr. Brackett, I'm sorry, Mr. Brackett.
Now, for me, I prefer the second one, to be totally honest. I don't like cheap gimmicks. I don't want a loud sound to come in and jolt me, because, of course, we're going to get jolted. It's a shock to the senses, but it's not horror. And that's just lazy filmmaking. Stop doing it, please. Future directors out there, don't do that no more. Take that away. That's lazy filmmaking, and we're not lazy. We're not. Now, the fourth thing I want to talk about is the use of lighting. Lighting in this movie is Jedi level. John Carpenter, you're the bomb, dude. Sincerely, you and your crew are amazing. Now, what scene do I love with lighting? Let me show you. Now, towards the end of the film, when Laurie goes to her friend's house to see if anybody's there, she's called. She knows everybody's having sex, but no one's answering the phone, right? So she goes to the house, and she starts finding everybody's dead bodies. There's a sequence, kind of cheesy if you ask me, but I still love it. I mean, there's a sequence of her finding dead bodies left and right, and she walks near the stairs and puts her back against the wall. Now, in the background is just a void, but slowly you will see Michael Myers' face walking into the frame, and that's just beautiful lighting, and I love that. I always prefer practical effects like that, lighting, and the classic uses of just bringing the audience into an area that they're uncomfortable with. Continue to do that for future filmmakers out there, but that was really awesome. And if you want to see another John Carpenter film where he uses lighting, check out The Fog. The Fog is a really other good movie. It's not as scary, in my opinion, as Halloween, but the use of lighting, he took that and ran with it. Holy crap, you have to check that out. It's just like, yeah, that's badass. I wish I can do that, but yeah, check that out, The Fog, whenever you get a chance. Not the remake, the one from the 70s, okay? Check that out. Now, in closing, why do I love Halloween? That's a very good question. And I've been trying, I have many notes, and this is like my 8th take on trying to provide information to you on this. But really, maybe I love it more because of what I've seen in Hollywood nowadays. With the Paranormal Activity movies and the Ouija board movies and the Annabelle crap movie that came out, I feel that Hollywood has lost its audience and is really just And again, this is no shock to anybody, but they're really just making films to make money. They invest in horror, especially maybe $4 to $5 million in a movie, knowing its first opening weekends, it's going to make 15 million because there's going to be teenagers and people out there who want to see a horror movie and they'll go. I despise Hollywood when it comes to horror movies nowadays. There's only a few that have come out that I really loved. The Conjuring 2 was great. Lights Out was okay. And The Witch, I just saw that the other day, and that was a fantastic horror movie. That's the way I want to see it. And it's really the independent movies that we have to go to get true horror. I love Halloween because honestly, it's the way horror movies should be done. No over-the-top CGI, no over-the-top torture porn. We're talking great acting, a great story with a presence, and that's what Michael Myers is. He's a presence. But having a killer who you don't know much about, who continues to come after you, and no matter what you do, you can't stop him. And in the end of the film, when they think they've killed Michael, they walk and look over the balcony and there's no body. The ending stays with you, and I think that's what's the most effective thing about Halloween, at leaving the audience like, he's still out there and we can't find him. Yeah, they shot him, they did all these things to him, they can't find him. And I love how the movie ends. There's sequences of where he's been, the music's playing, and then you hear the breathing. It's a beautiful way to end a movie and a great way to end a horror movie, and that's why I love Halloween, folks. As always, thank you for watching Rudy's Movie Reviews, San Antonio's official movie critic. Take care and happy Halloween, everybody.